What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the RabidMining YouTube channel, and we're gonna do a quick roundup of what we've seen happen during the Ethereum 5GB DAG size, what happened to ETC, as well as the biggest kicker that probably no one was expecting is what happened to all them INNOSILICON miners. More on that in a minute. All right, guys, so just going to start off looking at Ethereum. So it was about 11:20, 11:15 or so when the 5GB DAG did hit on the Ethereum network. And we're hanging out at about 911 terahash. And we actually started to gain hash rate. Now, remember, the big concern here was a lot of those 5GB 1060 GPUs coming out of China, and as well as a lot of those Jazz miners that were set for 5 gig. Now, it does look like they have 5.2 on the 520 mega hash versions, so they were able to creep through that, and about 34 minutes later, they came back online at pretty much close to full hash rate, but they did lose slightly a little bit. Again, we don't know the full numbers until a full 24 hours goes by so we can get some averages. But currently, and then all of a sudden, as the hash rate was climbing, it started dumping. So I don't know what went on here. We were seeing price drops across the Ethereum network the other day, but the big kicker could be due to INNOSILICON as well. So before we get into that, though, let's take a look at ETC. Now, ETC, on the other hand, it hit its all-time high of hash rate ever. Look at this, all the way back down to January of 2016 or even beforehand. What do we got here? We got like July 29th, I guess, of 2015. Coming all the way up till now. And yes, ETC hit the all-time high in terms of hash rate. It's currently now sitting at 38.29 terahash, but it was upwards of 40.79. So that's insane. And Ethereum Classic is still fairly profitable, especially on them Ipollo miners. GPUs don't really have a chance at this point, especially after the merge happens in about 3.5 weeks. So I do expect the Ethereum Classic hash rate, guessing ASIC numbers, to hit around the 300 terahash mark once the merge goes through. Again, it's too soon to tell, and we'll have to see what happens. But now let's get into INNOSILICON. This is what was the major deal breaker and really surprised me. So let's look at the INNOSILICONs, most likely the A10s. It seems like the A11s were all just fine, but some issue was going on with all the A10s, A10 Pros. As we know, some had 5 gigabytes, some have 6, some have 7, and I think some may have 8 gigabytes of memory, but it does seem like the DAG size did wipe them all off. None of them were able to get hash rate back on Ethereum once the DAG hit 5 gigabytes. That's pretty crazy. Like, did INNOSILICON lie to everyone and everything was 5 gigabytes as they were promoted to 8 gigabytes? I don't think that's the case. That would be, major lawsuits happening if something like that was to happen, but who knows what the whole issue is. So going through my Discord, a member here does have a buddy with an A10X. I'm not sure the exact version of it, but he pulled it off of Ethereum and put it onto ETC, and it's using the same amount of power, but it's only hashing Ethereum Classic at about 70%. As we can see previously, here's the hash rate levels up top, and we can see it's down a little bit now to like 70, 75% of what it is. So it lost 25% hash rate moving to ETC, which is very, I guess, interesting going on here. So I don't know what's happening there, but the biggest kicker is all the Reddit posts going on about 6 and 7 gigabyte models. So here we are in EtherMining, the A10X Pro INNOSILICON. 7 gig stopped working at the new 5 gigabyte DAG. Is anyone else experiencing that with the A10X Pro? By the way, Mining Eth didn't switch the new firmware to ETC. Everything was working perfectly. Temps were amazing, and I always in the 700 to 720 mega hash range. New DAG happens. I'm not able to mine anymore. Boards are still alive. Internet connection is still great. Tried different pool and nothing seems to make the miners start again. Any tip or trick should always be welcome. And remember, if you flash these things to the ETC firmware, it's a pain to get back because the older firmware is not available anyway. I've heard of people changing out their control boards completely, and it still doesn't help with the latest firmware, which I find weird because I think everything is stored within the control board itself. But there's major issues to get back to Ethereum mining once you move that thing to ETC. You can't just swap back and forth. It is totally different firmware. Someone mentions here, so far your only option is the ETC firmware from INNOSILICON's website. If you don't want to keep your machines idle, hopefully an updated firmware cooking with INNOSILICON soon. Now, are they going to rush out and fix this with the merge like 3.5 weeks away? You know, in theory, yes, they should ASAP, but who knows what's on their minds over at INNOSILICON. This is very interesting. I have no idea what is actually going on here. I don't know if Red Panda is experiencing this issues or not. I do believe he has some A10s as well as A10 Pros. So, you know, it'd be very interesting to get his thoughts on this situation. So, like, this could be a very good reason why we saw so much hash rate come onto ETC. It was probably a lot of these A10 Pros that should still be on Ethereum are now in ETC because they really don't have any other choice at this point, because they can't mine ETC even with like 7 gigabytes of memory. That's absolutely insane. It seems like FlexPool did drop an allegedly official announcement from INNOSILICON, and this is what INNOSILICON had to say. This was reposted in the INNOSILICON Telegram, so they copied it from there. And I've seen multiple A10 users report issues today. So notifications. In view of the customer's response, A10 series has been dropping collectively according to the official response. The reason is being verified. It is suggesting to go to the official website to download the latest ETC firmware and dig ETC first. Please note that the original firmware of ETH must be saved, and ETH can only be brushed back after ETH is normal. So, interesting. PS, to mine ETC on us, use the below pools, use format, stratum, flex pool, do the closest server, get started. So the flex pool is just showing, you know, how to connect to their pool. But INNOSILICON, if this is all legit, pretty much just said, sorry guys, go mine ETC and we'll figure it out later. I did see other people say now it could be due to the type of memory like DDR and DDR3 and DDR4. I don't know what they all use. I do not have any of these A10 type of miners. I really wish I did so I could play around and tinker with this thing and try to figure out what's going on, but I can't. I can only base everything off information I can find online here, and obviously all this information cannot always be trusted, so take it any way it's worth. Always do your own research. But sounds like INNOSILICON is saying, if you got an AN10, sorry guys, go mine ETC. You're kind of screwed over on the old ETH department, even if you should allegedly still be able to mine it. So very interesting stuff going on here. We'll see how this plays out later on in the future. And again, let me know, do you have an A10? Let me know what's going on with your miner in the comments below. I know a few of you guys that do watch the channel do have some of these, so I'm very interested to see what's going on with your guys' miners. So that's about wraps up this video, guys. So I'm assuming a lot of this major hash rate here is pretty much coming from A10s that should probably still be on Ethereum. But again, I don't know. They didn't gain too much. It's only like 6 to 8 terahash that ETC gained coming out of this in from that DAG size. But regardless, it really sucks to have an A10 model right now and not be able to mine Ethereum, which you currently should still be mining. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Rabid out.